So, what do you know? Yet again, for the umpteenth time, Bill Clinton is embroiled in a certain amount of controversy over his sex life. Only this time, it's a little bit different. This time, instead of him being embroiled in scandal over his philandering and womanizing, he's embroiled in scandal that suggests he may actually be a sexual predator of sorts. Now, thanks in large part, interestingly enough, to none other than Donald Trump, past rape allegations against Bill Clinton are suddenly back in the news. With so much controversy swirling around Bill Cosby, with all of the many rape accusations that have been made against him over the decades, and how much prominence they've gained just over the past year plus change, we're now seeing a lot of discourse about whether Bill Clinton, and by extension, Hillary Clinton, might actually be benefiting from a certain double standard. If sexual assault activists would have us believe that we should always and everywhere assume that rape accusers are telling the truth and that the people they accuse are guilty, then why shouldn't we apply that same standard to Bill Clinton? And if we do apply that same standard to Bill Clinton, then should we apply to some extent that logic to his wife, to current presidential candidate Hillary Clinton? To me, the answer to the first question is very obvious. Yes, there is no sound, legitimate, logical reason why Bill Cosby should be taken to task for the allegations of rape against him, but for some reason Bill Clinton shouldn't be. So in this video, I want to take a gander at that second question. Should, this controversy swirling around Bill Clinton right now affect Hillary and her campaign in any kind of way? My answer is yes, for two reasons. The first reason you've probably already heard. Hillary Clinton obviously is using her husband Bill as a sort of surrogate to help her campaign and to help burnish her image in the eyes of the voters. So in other words, she is choosing to get him involved in the campaign and to make him and his legacy and his presidential record issues in this campaign and to try to spin them to her political advantage. But there's another reason, a much darker and more disturbing reason. If you believe the most prominent and seemingly most credible of Bill Clinton's accusers, Juanita Broaddrick, who worked on Bill Clinton's gubernatorial campaign in Arkansas back in 1978 when she alleges he raped her in her hotel room. If you believe her story, Hillary Clinton at that time actually used a sort of underhanded tactic to try to threaten her, or at least intimidate her, into maintaining her silence about the alleged rape. Now I'm reading here from an article at Vox.com by, I think, Dylan Matthews, reading verbatim here. About 6 months after her initial interviews in 1999, that's when Juanita Broaddrick first, when she first publicized these accusations, Broaddrick told the Judge Report that mere weeks after the alleged assault, Hillary Clinton had tried to thank her for her silence on the matter at a political rally. Hillary came directly to me as soon as she hit the door. I had been there only a few minutes. I only wanted to make an appearance and leave. She caught me and took my hand and said, "I am so happy to meet you. I want you to know that we appreciate everything you do for Bill." I started to turn away, and she held on to my hand and reiterated her phrase, looking less friendly, and repeated her statement, "Everything you do for Bill." I said nothing. She wasn't letting me get away until she made her point. She talked low. The smile faded on the second "thank you." I just released her hand from mine and left the gathering. End of quote. Now, I don't know about you all, but that strikes me as a pretty disturbing allegation. And it's not totally out of left field either. Apparently, Juanita Broaddrick did share that part of her accusation with, I think it was NBC, to which she initially made or reported the accusation back in the 90s. Apparently, she did tell them about that part of the story, and they actually left that out of the final cut of the segment on Dateline that actually aired at the time. So this isn't something new that she's only bringing up belatedly. Apparently this was part of her story dating back, 17 years now. If it is true that Hillary Clinton really did approach Juanita Broaddrick, knowing that her husband had allegedly raped her just, I think, a few days earlier, or maybe even the very previous day, and used this tactic of shaking her hand and thanking her for everything she's done for Bill, that is serious business indeed. That speaks to Hillary Clinton's character as a person and as a leader. If she really had the kind of character that would have led her to do a thing like that, which is absolutely despicable, then I think the voters ought to know about it. At the very least, the voters should know that Hillary Clinton is being accused of allegedly enabling her husband's alleged rape in that manner. At a minimum, the voters should know that that allegation is out there. And I think it's only fair for people in the media in particular to try to hold both Bill and Hillary Clinton accountable for that. I imagine most Americans probably would not want someone who's even capable of doing that kind of thing. I imagine most people would agree such a person does not belong in the White House and is not cut out to be the leader of the free world. This is some pretty serious stuff, and it's some pretty dark stuff. And if this really did happen, if Bill Clinton really did this to Juanita Broaddrick in particular, and if Hillary Clinton really compounded that trauma in the way that Juanita Broaddrick says she did, the American public has a right to know. And the American voter might very well do well to keep that in mind when he or she goes to the ballot box.